2, 3. Welcome to She Rocked It. This is the place where ladies are talking about the ways we're blazing our trails and the things that put the wind in our sails. Hello, welcome to the She Rocked It podcast. I'm your host, Karen Gross, and so excited to connect with Nicole Cohen today. She's a woman who I had the pleasure of actually seeing rocking it at the Pennsylvania Conference for Women. We're going to talk about that. But first and foremost, Nicole, welcome to She Rocked It. So excited to talk to you today.
Thank you, Karen. I'm so excited to be here. We're going to have a great time.
Oh, we are, because if you know anything about Nicole, you know she is the author of the internationally best-selling book, Improv at Work. But I'm not going to scoop any of that. Nicole, why don't you tell us a little bit more about all the amazing things that you do?
Oh, okay. I will do that. Well, first, I'd like to start in the beginning. I'm from Ohio.
Take us back.
Take you way back,
Take us back.
20 years. No.
Right.
I did come from Ohio, but I found
all my favorite people are from Ohio, by the way.
It's so true.
No, my partner's from Ohio. Like all my everyone, I'm in love with you already. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God. Okay, we're going to be.
Forget him. I love you.
Okay, great. I'm glad I said the right state.
You did.
What a horrible way to start had I said any other one. I quickly made
that should be my filter. That's my filter for guests going forward. You must have an Ohio connection.
Ohio. I like the filter. And my friends in Cincinnati, well, they shout out anyway. But I made my way to Northwestern University in another fabulous Midwestern state. And I studied biomedical engineering and theater. And so people might not see the connection. All I see is the connection, but that's okay. Anyway, I would leave there and go to work at a global consulting and technology firm, same one I am still at today. And in starting that career in life sciences and working with people, because that's what we do in the workplace, I just reflected on some other parts of my background that I got going through school at Northwestern, where I studied, and I was in an improv comedy group with some pretty amazing actors and comedians. And, and
of course, we know Northwestern's in Chicago, which is like such a hub of improv. So I imagine you found some great improv there. Yeah.
Best of the best. And then they go on to do amazing things. And I go on to work at a consulting and technology firm. And it's all the same. Movie.
Doing amazing things. Surely.
Amazing things. And just sort of recognize over 2 decades of working. But I picked up on this lesson earlier on that the rules of improv are very applicable in the workplace. And so that kind of brought my background to my today. And I felt like, having seen some really great behaviors in the workplace and some not so great, that maybe it was time to dial up the improv. And could I make a mark on the world in the workplace by bringing improv rules to those who probably haven't studied them, but they're all rooted in creating very positive, collaborative exchanges towards outcome. I mean, it is what we do in the workplace. So it's a fun way. Yes. It's a team building way. Yes. It's a very real way to help the workplace be more human, help people bring out the best of each other and the best of the person with whom they're speaking. It is what we did on stage. It's what people do on stage. And so it's kind of become, who I am now. I'm still very much a normal managing director in the workplace, but I bring this other side.
Casually rocking it in corporate.
Rocking it. I mean, as we do. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I'm just outside Philadelphia when I'm not traveling or something for work or fun. So.
Amazing. And it seems like even in college, you sort of embraced this, two sides of yourself, or left brain, right brain, or slash career, thing. And I really relate to that because I'm a singer and I also have a communications business, and I've worked with, major philanthropies and universities and I would be like Lois Lane in the bathroom changing into my cabaret outfit, for the evening. So I really am curious about people who have these sort of slash lives, especially when one of the sides is like a performance side, like improv. Right. So yeah, tell us about sort of embracing that in your life. You've kind of done that left brain, right brain dance. Was that something that you consciously said, I'm just going to embrace both both sides of myself and move forward? Or how did that happen for you?
Wish I could say that was true. I would say very early on in my career, so when I was 22, 23, I thought that being in the workplace meant being very serious and a professional, which is true. But I think the way that I defined professionalism meant just like a machine. And I just thought that's what it was, because I was a 22, 23-year-old in workplace clothes now, and working with very, experienced people, brilliant people, my clients and my teams and everyone. So I felt like, okay, I guess that's the part.
Right.
And I remember, again, I'm very grateful that this advice came early. And I hope that if there are people out there that need to hear this, hear it now via what I heard early, which is, if it would have wasted a lot of time had I not. But I remember meeting with my supervisor at the time, who was a few years older than me, over lunch. And he said, I want to give you some feedback. And I'm an actor. I don't like feedback, really. I mean, I like it when it's good. To be honest with you, people listening who know me will, I've learned to appreciate constructive feedback for sure. It's how we grow. But just coming at you, I'm like, thank you for your opinion. And then I would, but he's like, I have some feedback, and he's an amazing person. So I'm like, okay, well, it was feedback. And he said, I was meeting with somebody that you work with right now. And she said, wow, Nicole is really serious, right? Like, she's really serious. And he knew me from going to lunch or like being in the office, and we're all working, and I am me. And he's like, oh yeah, okay. I mean, I guess. And she's like, yeah, she's like really serious. And so he said to me, you can be you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay. You can be you. You're funny. You're, whatever, insert lots of compliments. You can be that person. And I don't know, Karen, like it hit me in a really good, important, productive, constructive way. Like, I don't have to play the part called Nicole Cohen, businesswoman extraordinaire. I can just be Nicole Cohen, here to be the best, I can in the workplace, and add the most value towards value, whatever it is. That was important. And that for me, like, broke all the rules that I created for myself, or I didn't even know I created. And it allowed me to not see that filter. And that I like the way you even phrased it. Like, I got one brain, they're connected, and we're all going to work together and be as valuable as I can be.
Well, thank you to whoever that, gentleman was who delivered that piece of that nugget that really kind of gave you that permission, and maybe you could breathe a little bit.
Really?
And it's funny, I think as an actor you probably were really good at wearing the costume of being a young corporate upstart. Maybe to the nth degree, right? And he's like, you can take it down, you're good. Right, you're good. Oh my gosh. But it obviously worked out, because you've been with this firm for some 20 years, 25, and you are totally so well respected in your work in that world. And I'm curious, how do your colleagues sort of embrace the improv side of you? If you're not holding it as a secret, which is great. Everyone knows you're an author. You've got this side of yourself.
Right.
How do you get your quote unquote, business corporate folks to embrace that or take that seriously as a part of who you are?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I give them no option. So there's that. Also, they're amazing. So that is fair to give them the nod. I think I come back to the point, like, there are a lot of theater experiences that are created for the workplace that are intended to team build. And I was mentioning that before. Like, that is true. And my approach is it does team build, because it allows a team to go through an activity like this whole, if I do it, I bring improv to my everyday, because it's like who I am. But I also created a workshop that I can do for any company. And I think the unique part is that it is about learning the rules to communicate better, so be better humans to each other, so we can collaborate better and we can innovate better towards business goals. So it's not just, let's have a good time, everybody stand like a tree and feel embarrassed, right? Like, because we all did that in acting classes, and it was. But it's about like creating rules, working with exercises to help our workplace be more successful.
Creating like improv rules, you're saying? Like
improv rules.
yeah.
Yes. So for example, like one of the improv rules is about being curious. On stage, if you're in a scene and you're stuck because you don't, like usually a scene for those people who haven't like, go see improv, first of all, everybody out there, like go
It's
see hilarious.
Go do it. Yes.
You know when it's bad, it's good. Like it's just brave people doing brave things. But like they're trying to do a scene and you can get stuck another rules can help you get stuck. You're in the back of your head, you can ask a question and it sort of unlocks both of you. Like, why are we standing on the moon? Well, first of all, the other actor didn't know you were on the moon. You didn't know half a second ago. And now you've given your fellow actor something cool to say, like, I thought we got off the bus stop at Mars. Where are these buses are run by? I mean, you can have a lot of fun with it. A question can unlock. In the workplace, it does the same thing. You can get stuck in a conversation and a topic, and you think you're really smart, you have all the answers. I bet you don't. And so asking a question does so many things. It creates a vulnerability. It allows somebody who's an expert in something to contribute their expertise or be creative together, realize you're in it together. So being curious is important for the stage and it's important for the workplace. Like I'm asked sometimes, what do you think we should do next? And chances are I don't have enough data. I don't have enough information to give you the best answer. The worst answer is one where I answer it and I'm wrong because I should have been more aware that there were a few other pieces of information that I needed in order to give you the best possible advice. So that's only one rule, but I just find that connecting it to the business outcome, like there's actual value here. This is not just, let's have a good time. It is a good time, but also it's very much focused on tackling a challenge or helping a team just be more successful together.
That's awesome. I'm just curious because being a woman in corporate and climbing that ladder and then, what that's like. And then also kind of being a woman with a strong creative streak. Like, have you ever had any pushback? I mean, in that space or people raising a brow or, dealt with any of that along your ascent? Or was it always that you have had that confidence and that courage to just be, I'm fully who I am?
Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? From the day I was born in Ohio, I just knew I had all the answers. I've been up against everything, Karen. I've been, minimized, marginalized. My not favorite is when I say something and then somebody says the exact same thing. And I just said that. And like, I've seen it all. I've seen it all. Like and
then you do an improv joke about it, I hope.
Right.
No, I'm joking.
I kind of do. I mean, part of it, having a personality and being,
right.
Being a little, I try to be cute about it. Like, didn't I just say that? I swear I just said, instead of like, I just said, because I don't want to create awkward moments either in the workplace. But I've gotten to the point in my career, yes, I've experienced all kinds of behaviors. And I'm at the point now where I'm just about making the workplace better. So if somebody talks over me, because I look at the question as it has a lot of different permutations. Like I rarely get, when I say the improv, and I sometimes just answer that question about improv, I have been told once, like, and I think this is an important pushback. It actually helped me write part of it in the book. I get pushback like, improv in the workplace, we can't fly by the seat of our pants. That was a quote. He didn't coin that phrase, but as you know, but still, we have to be prepared. Of course we do. I'm actually not suggesting we fly by the seat of our pants or you just show up in a meeting and go, scene. Why are we at the moon? Like, that's not what we're about. Preparation there is no substitute. And I said this to him, and it was a him. I said, it could have been a her, but I said, it's not that, but let me explain what it is. It is about, applying these rules to the situation that we're in. I can tell you with improv, we prepare a lot. Mm-hmm. I was in a cast. We prepared 4 hours every night.
Yeah.
If any of my cast members are listening, like every night, 8 to 12, I was an engineering student and we rehearsed 8 to 12 and it wasn't for the script. It was for the ability to be comfortable and confident on stage, and,
Right.
and
Right.
build some of the trust in ourselves and
Oh,
our
yeah.
and our past. But that was the prep. In the workplace, the prep is know your stuff. Like, know who you're talking to, know what, I don't know, challenges there are, know your hypotheses, know different directions you could take the conversation. That is not improv. I'm
Yeah.
not telling people to put on an improv comedy scene. I'm saying when you're prepared like that and you're in the meeting, use the rules of improv to show up, to make sure that you're building upon the conversation, you're asking questions, you're not stuck in the back of your head, you remember your objectives. Like, these are the rules that then you take your subject matter and you use. So at the end of that conversation, and we were at a bar in a happy hour, by the way, I took my time with my explanation while we were drinking. He was like, okay, you're right. I get it. So when it comes to improv, I will stand up all day long and justify and explain and bring it to life for people. In the workplace, I'm at the point now where when I'm met with any just negativity or pushback, I don't, like I said, I'm really not about creating awkward moments, but I also don't want people to get away with bad behaviors, because I view myself as, I hope, a role model to some, but also somebody that I don't want, if I'm treated in a bad way, I don't want the next 10 women to be treated that way, or men, or anybody. So I will say, I think I just said what you said, didn't I? Just, maybe I didn't say it loudly. I know I said it clearly. I mean, I'm all weird. I try to make a little joke, but I try to leave a lesson, because again, I'm sort of about leaving my mark. And it's not just about how you treated me. It's about how you're going to treat someone else. And if you think it's okay because I let it seem like it was okay, then you will do that. But
This
I do
is
it in a
so
really
inspiring.
cute way, Karen, but a clear
Oh,
way.
we still have to be a little cute, or maybe,
Little cute.
we still have to be kind of cute. Like, it's funny. I do, there's that thing where women come across as if we come across as angry,
I know.
it does, like you said, and I found this in my life, it often backfires, frankly, but if I, yes, have the diplomacy and the grace and maybe the humor,
Right.
often it's a better result. It was funny, just to go back to what you said a moment ago about improv. As you were speaking, there was two things that came to my mind. One is when you see a great jazz performance, like, those musicians know their instruments in and out.
That's right.
They don't just get up to the stage and
Wing it.
improv. Right.
Right.
It's not like it'd be a train wreck, right? If
Can
they
you
hadn't,
imagine if somebody who
yeah.
improvised on the trumpet, was like, you know what? I don't know the piano, but let me go for it. What's that going to sound like? I don't think good. Like, if you never
Yeah.
play, that's a really good comparison. Yeah.
Thanks. I mean, it's
Yeah.
people, sometimes people need to, take that beat, pun intended, to recognize that improv actually has its own beautiful practice and discipline behind
Absolutely.
it that you have devoted yourself to. It's so
Absolutely.
cool. And, it's interesting. I mentioned earlier that I first saw you working your magic, working the room at
Yeah.
the Pennsylvania Conference for Women in Philadelphia, which I was like stunned by the number of people at that conference. I think there
Yeah.
was thousands. It was
Thousands.
at the convention that I want to
Yeah.
say was close to 8,000. I mean, all of us were in that pack in that place. It was amazing. And your workshop session had a huge turnout.
Yeah.
Standing room, people gathered around you. What do you think that was about? I mean, obviously, like, people were there to hear from a rock star woman like you, but people seemed especially excited to hear about the role of improv in the workplace. And tell us about why you think that struck a nerve, and, anything fun you remember from that day.
Well, I can tell you there were a lot of nerves leading up to that day, because my session was a bit unique. It was like leading a discussion, but then I had people doing some things, like actually doing some little activities. And I, like any good improv performer, I was very prepared and had lots of backup plans. Like, I'm going to read the room. If people, I'm feeling like people aren't going to stand up and do something, we're going to do, like, I had all these different
Yeah, and
permutations.
let me just also note that it was Nicole alone on that stage. There was no improv partners with her to play off. It was like you rocking this black suit, rocking it.
Right.
But there, so
Yeah.
yes, continue, please.
Yeah, no, it was. And so that was part of it. I work with groups of 15 and 50, like organizations or functions or leadership teams, a CEO and their, so this was like a lot of people from a lot of different, any industry, workplace, people not working. Like it was just such a group. And so I really thought about, Karen, messages that would resonate, that weren't super like specific. Like I wasn't talking to a CEO and their CFO I was talking with this group of people who needed to hear that the workplace needed to be different and that you can be part of it wherever you are in your career journey. I looked at people's faces and I watched people nod, and I knew, and then I would, sometimes go off on a little tangent because I thought they could handle it. This story is and I went over, as I don't even know if you know, but they told me I could go over, and I did.
Yes, take up that space.
Take up that space, the time. Yes. Yeah, oh yeah. So, yeah, but it was amazing. And what was great is afterwards, having folks who told me they just graduated college and people who were, a CFO at a company or this SVP of marketing, like these different levels come to me, made me feel like, okay, like I created messaging that you will, in the words, you will find it, what it means to you. And I just thought that's just an important aspect of doing it. Plus I felt like somebody said to me, what was different about my little show on a stage, I had a microphone. I was so happy, Karen. What was different was that it felt more like a show.
Amazing. And can you share a lesson from improv with us, since some of us may not have heard you that day? What lesson from improv do you wish like more women knew and carried with them?
Okay, so we talked about be curious. So I'm going to put that one over here, but people should write that down. Ask questions, power of question. I think the one I would bring up is the rule about getting out of the back of your head. And I mentioned it a little bit, but that is no joke. And that causes a lot of panic, anxiety, and discomfort. And all those things lead to your confidence getting slightly chiseled away when you're talking to somebody else and you're no longer comfortable. And I'm kind of more about comfort and confidence than the opposite of those things. So what does getting out of your head mean? Because it sounds really surgical, but it's not. It's more, it's a concept, and people kind of need to stick with me on this. Imagine you're talking with somebody who's either your boss, or you're trying to pitch an idea to your colleague or your customer, your client, whatever you do, whatever that is, and you're in a conversation and you've prepared a topic and they don't like it. And they're like, I don't really think so. I think we tried that before and it didn't really work. So I don't think we're not going to probably do that. What happens to you as an individual is you retreat. You retreat to the depths of your head, and you can almost imagine it. Like, I'm not a brain surgeon. I just like to think I am. But you imagine like your thoughts are now back here, and you're freaking the freak out. And I love that expression because it's true. You're human beings. Break out with a question. What is most important to you? Why do you think it didn't work last time? What if we gave it a try? Are there other people? And if you really are stuck, you might say, you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to think about this. What other feedback can you give me so that I'm going to process this? This is important, what you're saying. And I want to have the best ideas for you, or I want the best ideas for the company, or I want to bring the best out of myself. Because then it's their problem too. Like you're both in it to fix whatever it is. And you don't feel so bad,
Wow. I'm going to think about that space in between, instead of retreating back into the noise, it hurts. And I'm hearing about all the voices that are in the back of the head too, that are oh, you're not good enough. You failed.
I know.
Right? You're done.
Just plan your walk to the bathroom now to cry. Plan it out. Where's the closest bathroom? I mean, can
I tell you something? I love this. I'm so obsessed with what you're saying. And, it's also reminding me, I had a conversation I was the only woman, and there was a couple men in the music industry, and we were in a group. And one of the men said a comment regarding a woman's looks. And I didn't know what to do. And he actually then said, oh, was that comment sexist? And like, I am the founder of She Rocked It, and I was paralyzed. Yeah. I didn't know what to say. The voices, I retreated, and the voice, I'm so embarrassed, everyone. I admit to this happening, and I'm embarrassed because I love this idea, Nicole, of you having that moment where you can teach and share in a way that people are going to, it's going to leave a ripple effect. I'm so inspired by this conversation, which comes at the perfect time after having this episode just a few days ago. But if I had leaned into that middle ground of like, well, actually it was, or, and let's talk about it. It's so hard. It's like, you don't want to ruffle the feathers, or you don't want to, right? So like, Mm,
But it's worse when they feel like it's okay what they did. It's worse.
right.
So I'd rather ruffle a feather with my style, which everybody has their own style. I'm not suggesting everybody should be cute about it. Like my style is I want to leave a mark. I want people to be, realize that there's some growth there required.
Yeah.
But I don't want to burn a bridge. Like there are the things we're all trying to do as part of our agendas, but it doesn't mean that we should go quiet. I had one person, Karen, curse at me when I asked a question. They came at me with a pretty, in my opinion, inappropriate way. And like you, or I don't know exactly what happened with yours, but I am sad to say I let it just happen because I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I wasn't a senior, to be fair to myself. I was still figuring it all out. This person was much more senior than me, but I told somebody about it. And I said, I'm not escalating it. I'm more unhappy with that I didn't stand up for myself and women and like, you don't talk this way, people, never mind you humans. And the person with whom I was talking said to me, you just need a plan. You need a plan. If that happens again, what's your plan? And I'm not, my family will disagree, but I'm not a super argumentative, like I am about ideas, but I don't really want to get into a curse word. Like this is the workplace, y'all. Like we're trying to make the world a better place, I hope. So, but I had a plan for myself. I never had to execute it, but, cause it never happened again, but I had a plan. And with that plan, I very much had a level of comfort. And my plan, I'll share it with you, but please, like you and others have your own plans. But my plan with this, if this person were to come at me or anybody with the cursing, I'm walking away. And I will tell you, Karen, I had to use this with someone else once we were in a big team room. The two of us were probably the most senior. There were a lot of people in the room. Inappropriate thing came my way. And I walked out and I walked around. I didn't walk out permanently. I walked around and I came back and I said, I'd like to have a conversation with you after this meeting. And he said, okay. And we finished the meeting. And I said that in front of everybody because I don't want people to think it's okay. We can just walk away, avoid conflict. I knew this wasn't the time and place to have it out with somebody. I really don't I prefer not to have it out with anybody. Yeah. But we can share our opinions. I'm very open. Like I want people to say what's on their mind, like 1,000%. And it changed the whole dynamic, Karen. We went into a side room and first thing out of his mouth was an apology.
Love that. I'm inspired to think about how I can be better prepared. Talk about preparation, right?
Right.
Right. Next time, because we unfortunately know there's going to be some jerks out there who come at us with outdated sexist comments. Right. So, all right, everyone, we're going to have a plan.
Right.
We're not going to so I'm loving this.
There's also nothing like a good stare, Karen.
I'm going to practice my stare. I love that. I do. I am known to have some dagger eyes once in a while. Yes. Okay. Only when people really cross me, they come out. Usually I'm real sweet. I love this. So tell us, maybe this is going to be your next book. I've decided the preparation for the toxic moments. But your first book was a huge smash. I mean, was this like a surprise? I mean, like when you put this out, were you like, oh my gosh, this is going to go viral and be an international bestseller? Improv at Work. I can't even get my copy. I just want you to know that I ordered it like 3 weeks ago and I'm still waiting for it.
Oh, that's not good. Oh my gosh.
I keep getting Amazon's like, and it's going to be here tomorrow. And like, I was hoping to have read it by now, just so you know. But this is so awesome. And like, how did you fit writing this book into your imaginably very busy life? And how do you feel about the fact that it's really taken off?
First of all, I think if you're passionate about something, you just make the time. Because I hope people listening don't think differently of me, but I don't love shopping. So I don't. And I say I don't have time for shopping. I do. I have time. I could go shopping. I just don't because I'd rather do Peloton or I'd rather, sit with my kids or do like a million other things. I could do it if I loved it, was passionate. And this was important to me. So I made it work, and I have a full-time job. So it was not, and I wanted to respect, and I love what I do and my teams and clients and everybody. So it had to be pretty much a weekend thing or take a Friday off, take a PTO day. But a lot of it was on the weekend, and I would make it work. Like I would say to my daughter, "Do you want to go to the library and do homework? And I will, be over here on my laptop." And so, and I got a special laptop that made me excited about that. So
I love that. No, these are like important tips though. Get
Yeah.
your cute laptop for working. I actually love my like rose gold laptop with my She Rocked It sticker on it.
It's all
It's
you. I
amazing.
mean,
Yes.
makes it fun. And but I also like I started doing workshops first. I thought I would write a book, but I started doing the workshops, and I started writing the book a little bit. And when I realized from the workshops was what people really needed to hear. And some of it, I realized that number one, people needed to hear why the world is different, why we've removed so much human interaction from our lives because of our devices. It's just true. And I love technology, but it's true. I grew up going into banks, and my mom made me talk to people. And you had all these exchanges, what I call little rehearsals, little practice bursts of speaking with people. And a lot of that's going away. So now we have the workplace, and people are undernourished with some of their human interaction skills, the very skills that it's pretty much all you focus on when I did improv. And I just felt like it changed the direction of the book, so that the book has, yes, it has the lessons and it has the exercises. And I love that. So
I love that. I love the idea of like doubling down on humanity through improv as a counterpoint to AI.
Karen, they used to say like, oh, it's a soft skill. These are these skills. If you say to yourself, people say like, oh, I'm good at the soft skills, I'm good at some, never undervalue that. That is phenomenal. Shine, have those skills shine. They're important. So I resonated.
Mic drop, done, sold. Yes. Relief. Yes. Good. I'm glad in the highest echelons of corporate you're there. Right. That's great. Right. Please keep saying that.
Trying. Fight the fight.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This has been the most amazing conversation, and the time has flown. I'm going to ask you another question or two, Nicole. Okay. Okay. But this has been just so inspiring, and you've given me already actionable things that I can take into my life. And I'm sure, yes, so many of us are feeling the same. You mentioned your daughter a moment ago, and I'm curious about the ecosystem of your life. You obviously have a lot of passions. You are taking action on them. Just tell us about how your life, what does your day-to-day life look like? How do you integrate your passion for improv with your corporate life, with your family? What does that look like for you? Do you have like daily routines that keep you inspired and energized?
I am still sometimes a work in progress, because some days,
wait, you're not perfect? Like what's wrong?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, no, I say to people, I'm an imperfect perfectionist. So it is a challenge every day. It's like, I want it to be, and I'm constantly giving myself grace. It's like a conscious, like it's a very, very conscious, deliberate focus. I think like most people, I'm working on the, some days are a little over rotated towards, I love my work. I love the people I work with. I'm all in. That creates some problems. Like if I'm not traveling for work, I might be sitting on video calls, and there's so many different people. It feels very dynamic, except that I'm really just sitting. And a few months ago, that took a toll on my shoulder. Mm-hmm. I say that to people, not for sympathy. I'm all good now, but hopefully, but I say that because you have to take care of yourself. So I'm trying to integrate that part in a day. Like I mentioned, Peloton. I love Peloton. I love going on walks and runs and all of it. If I can couple it with friends or my husband or my kids, they're teenagers, so they don't really love walking with me anymore. But I try to bring that all together so that my day, I look at the end of the day and I'm happy with the way that it was distributed. But in the work week, I am 100% full time. I like to think like my whole improv is just who I am. And in a meeting, everybody can be improv. We didn't talk about the yes and rule. That is a rule that most people know. It's like the famous rule. But it shows up in lots of ways in a day. It can show up with your kids. And I tell the story about when my daughter, I didn't mean for this to be a story, but I was busy like working, and my daughter said, can I make a chocolate cake in a mug in the microwave? And I thought, that is a horrible idea. Like that just sounds like mess and failure and mess. And so I wanted to say no to that idea, but I said, yeah, you can do that. That's okay. And I'm working away, kind of looking, but I'm not really. And would you believe it was horrible? It tasted horrible. It was not good, but she was happy with herself. And she was like, you know what? I'll try this again another time. I'm like, okay, just clean up. And she did try it again another time. And she would eventually have a recipe that was good. I mean, I was shocked, Karen, but I just try to integrate all of it. I try to show up for my teams the way I show up for my kids. I try to look for yes more than I look for reasons to say no. Or at least I try to understand more about their ideas before I say no. In this sort of yes, and how does that look? And so so a day can look lots of ways for my agenda of, but I'm trying to infuse more of, special time for yourself, coupling it with other things that are important to you, and bringing like how you approach life to every facet of your life. And I try to be consistent with that. Work, life, work, kids, family, myself. So try.
Amazing. It is always a work in progress. It's also always changing, right? Every year is different. Maybe this year you're focused on your book. The next year you're focused on a big project at work.
That's right.
So it's kind of always changing under our feet too. And so like improv in effect all the time. Yeah. Right.
It has to be. Right. Yes.
I love it. Well, you inspired me over a year ago now at the Pennsylvania Conference for Women, and you've absolutely done the same in this conversation. So I'm so grateful that we had more time together. And yeah, truly. And, I can't let you go without asking our final question, which is, can you leave us with one tip, just one tip to rock it? You are totally rocking it. Give us one final tip to rock it.
Okay. This is good. I hope it is. I'm just going to say it is. And that, and I hope that whoever's listening, that you find something in this tip for you. And I'll explain what I mean. I think you have to know your purpose. Have one and know it, and have a few. You can have a lot, but for me, I have a lot of purposes, but the purpose around this is to inspire the workplace to be better. We spend so much time here. So you don't have to have that purpose, but have one, know it, write it down. And then the second is plan for it. It's not just going to happen. People aren't going to knock on your door and say, do you have a purpose? We're here to make it happen. I mean, if those people live in your neighborhood, more power to you. They're not here in where I live, but so you got to have a plan. You have to have a plan. And then we've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. And it's funny when people hear me saying it because I'm so improv, but prepare for it. Build the time in your day, build the people around you who can give you feedback constructively, who can cheer you on, have friends that just love you unconditionally and will cheer you on and are excited for you, almost excited maybe more than you are for yourself. But do that work, know your purpose, plan for it, and then prepare for it and achieve it. It's so possible. Today, if you have something, you don't know your purpose, brainstorm a few. One life, y'all. We got one. Let's do it.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the She Rocked It podcast. The She Rocked It podcast is produced by Karen Gross, Tori Marchioni, and Erin Phelan, with audio engineering by Tung Chen. The She Rocked It theme song is by Karen Gross and Tim Motzer. Thanks to everyone who supported this episode on Ko-fi, with a special thanks to Stacey Rappaport and Craig Solomon for their generous support. If you would like to support the She Rocked It podcast, you can do so at Ko-fi, that's ko-fi.com/She Rocked It. We so appreciate your support of these episodes. And if you want to follow along with everything we're doing, you can check us out at sherockedit.com and on our Instagram page. Rock on.